Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of our F122 My Team Career Mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, we have round number 3 here of the second season in Melbourne at the Australian Grand Prix. Very excited for this one. One of my favorite new layouts here on the calendar. Has a much more of a sweeping and rhythmic kind of feel to it here in Australia. Now you can see we got some upgrades on the way, and hopefully going into the next episode in Imola with the sprint race weekend, that is going to put us above Williams and a little bit closer to Aston Martin, but probably not quite ahead of Aston Martin. But nonetheless, I mean, some positives and some gains being made here with this Trackhouse team that I feel like we just really couldn't make last season, so that's certainly a big positive. I was running, I think it was 89 or 90 on the AI for this race weekend. Now, I am recording or commentating this and finishing this video on the day of the brand new patch that just came out, so this video is recorded just before that patch that came out. So, the next video starting in Imola will have the new patch, and apparently they have fixed, or at least certainly made AI better in terms of the straight line speed and exit of the corner grip and whatnot. So hopefully I can turn the AI back to above 100 starting with this new patch in the next episode in Imola. At least I'm hoping. So if you guys have played with the new patch, which I haven't done yet, let me know how it is with the whole AI speed situation. But nonetheless, we come through here into free practice one, having a bit of a little mishap right there, but overall practice was going pretty good here. Now a little bit later in the session, the sun would come out. Now the clouds kind of disappearing, and we were into our qualifying pace segment here of this free practice one, and I had made some good time, but I lose pretty much all of it right here in this final corner. It is so hard to get the power down in that final turn. Now we do still end up though going positive, but when the game sees you only go positive by like half a tenth, it actually doesn't count it as complete, which is really strange, but I didn't care at that point. So we were P9 here in free practice one versus our teammate of Tal Porcher, who's all the way down in P21 on the hard compound of a tire. Nonetheless, so some gains to be made here going into qualifying, and qualifying has certainly not been a strong suit for this Trackhouse racing car, and I wasn't expecting anything different here today. Kind of thought we were going to struggle again, likely now, but we were ready to put some laps down here and do whatever we can here to my first lap of timing now as we get through turn one. Do pretty well actually here now, but through the chicane I made quite a big mistake right here. You can see I go wide. I have to get way out of the throttle to make sure I don't invalidate my lap time, and that really kind of set the tone for the rest of the lap here. So I crossed the line. I was currently the slowest of anybody that had went in. Actually, yeah, by the time I started my final lap here in Q1, I was the slowest car on the circuit, but we had made some gains here now, as you're going to see down into the apex here, getting through the right-hander really well, and actually I just was able to kind of get this car kind of just into the track throughout this final attempt here in Q1. We're not going to probably make it into Q2. We have a car, in my opinion, with it being so close in the R&D that's capable of making it to Q2 depending on the track, but we don't really have that here today in Australia, which is a lot more straight line speed based now, as we though had found nearly 7/10 of a second so far. And like I said, I just got this car hooked up with the track on the second run, and you can definitely see it showing, because we find 9 to 9.5 tenths extra here on this second lap as we come through to cross the line, nearly a full second better. It puts us P15 briefly, but we would end up down a few spots worse in P19. Our team at Porcher, unfortunately, in last place, just 3/10 separate the both of us, so still some work to do. We're going to head to the grid here for the Australian Grand Prix, where hopefully we can find some more track position.
Hello and welcome from Melbourne, a track modified since we last raced here in Albert Park, and I think with the changes, it's going to be a classic. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, George Russell and Vettel, Norris, Perez, Sainz and Mick Schumacher, Gasly, Ricciardo, Yuki Tsunoda and Oscar Piastri, Joe, Stroll, Kevin Magnussen and Alex Albon. Golden Boy, Ocon, Latifi and Théo Pourchaire. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Ready to go. Lights out here from the grid in Australia. It's a soft compound to hard compound strategy. Usually we're doing the medium to hard, so a bit of a different strategy here. And actually you can see as well a bunch of the AI behind us or in around us are going to be doing the same thing. So we'll see how that works out. Alex Albon there in the Williams, who's continuing to outperform, in my opinion, that Williams equipment and dominate his teammate Latifi starting there on the mediums. Leclerc, Bottas, front row for Ferrari. Once again, it's 5 red lights, and it's a very quick release right there from the lights, and it's a very quick release from Valtteri Bottas, who gets the upper edge over Charles Leclerc down towards turn 1. He's going to take the lead of the Grand Prix as well. Verstappen up the inside of Leclerc as well into turn 1. Who's going to get out of that battle first? It's going to be Leclerc. Verstappen loses a little bit of grip there as he's got both the Mercedes of Russell as well as Hamilton, and then his teammate of Sebastian Vettel a little bit further behind as they head down into the right-hander. But a great lightning quick start right there from Valtteri Bottas, who takes the lead for the first time at Ferrari here in his Formula 1 career. Now is this once again, like I said, his second chance here in a top-tier car. Could this be the opportunity he needs to get to a World Drivers' Championship, going against his teammate, who was the now defending Drivers' Champion of Charles Leclerc here? As you can see, Perez right now wheel-to-wheel with the McLaren as they head through the long, sweeping left, right, left towards that next left and right chicane there. But Lando Norris not going to make it easy here on Perez here as they head down into said chicane as well. You see Daniel Ricciardo as well in the background ready to pounce, and then you got Pierre Gasly up here, Carlos Sainz, a whole bunch of drivers all up here in the mix scrapping it up, but they really slowed each other down battling like that, so there was a bit of a disconnection. But there's Ricciardo up the inside of Gasly, but couldn't quite pull anything off right there, so everybody just kind of trying to settle in. Now for myself, it was a solid start here. I was pretty happy with how things went. Théo Pourchaire gained 1 position on the start, but you know what, it will take that absolutely here with this Trackhouse Racing team. But Bottas leads his first and opening lap after, like I said, a lightning start there from Bottas here as we continue on in P18. So I gained 1 spot on the opening start of this Grand Prix. Mick Schumacher actually misses turn 1. It must have been a lockup or something there, so we gain another spot, move up to P17 now as we would settle in behind Esteban Ocon. But unfortunately, you're going to see what happened very quick. By the time we came to lap 3, I had lost nearly a whole second to Yuki Tsunoda, and Ocon has gotten past Tsunoda now 1.7 seconds ahead of myself. So I was losing a ton of time and just continuing to lose pace, and I would find out very, very quickly here. Actually, Nicholas Latifi nearly running into the barrier behind me, but I would find out very quick that something wasn't quite right with the car. So you can see I really was having to back it down through the chicane now compared to what I was able to do earlier. And what was happening was my tires were actually overheating significantly, which I've never really had during the Grand Prix weekend. You see me do a bit of a double take. I was like, did I see that correctly right there in the MFD? And pretty much every tire is over 100 degrees Celsius right now. So anytime you go over 100 degrees Celsius, you're overheating the tire. It's not in that optimal range to be performing. And no matter what I was doing, I couldn't get the tire below 100 degrees. So my pace significantly fell off, and you can see I just got passed by Latifi. Alex Albon was closing in on me quick. I was talking about Albon destroying his teammate every race, but right now it's Latifi actually outperforming him, but Latifi is on that soft compound tire. But I'm continuing to struggle. I'm just trying to survive to the pit stop and get on that hard compound tire, and then hopefully I can manage my tires from that point on with the temperatures. But Albon gets past us there for position at number 18 on that medium compound tire, and actually Zhou Guanyu, who was 1.3 seconds back, was running me down very quick as well. I had no pace. Once that tire, I think 3 tires, I think the right rear was okay, but 3 tires exceeded that 100 degrees, I had nothing. And Zhou Guanyu was right on my rear gearbox here as we came through to the end of lap 8, and this is my pit window open, so we hop onto it first opportunity. I could have honestly pitted a lap or 2 earlier if I really wanted to, because we can definitely get the hard compound tire to the end of this race in by taking it a couple extra laps if we need to. But nonetheless, we survived to lap 8. We come in, we put on the hard compound tire, and now it is crucial to make sure for the rest of this Grand Prix that I keep this hard compound tire within optimal temperature range, so that way it performs, because we pretty much only had the soft compound tire, I think, in an optimal range for about a lap and a half. And I don't know why it was just skyrocketing above 100 degrees, but very frustrating. But Fortunately, I was already, you can see, checking the temperatures to make sure I'm doing okay, and we were able to keep these tires so far so good within the optimal range here. Yellow flags, though, towards Sector 2, and it's actually for a Red Bull. It's the Porsche Red Bull of Max Verstappen, last round winner there in Jeddah there, and a final corner, final lap pass on Leclerc for the win, but he's going to be out here in Australia. An engine failure there. Not what we like to see is Porsche having engine failures when we are Porsche-powered cars, obviously, along with the AlphaTauri team, which we saw AlphaTauri have mechanical issues in the last episode too with Pierre Gasly. So far, Porsche Red Bull, Porsche AlphaTauri, they've had issues, but Porsche Trackhouse has not. But Leclerc, he's going to be the first of the Ferrari drivers into the pit lane on lap 13, so maybe trying to do the undercut on his teammate right there, Valtteri Bottas. We'll have to wait and see how that works out. Lewis Hamilton in as well, and then it wouldn't be long until we saw Valtteri Bottas come in. One lap later, he is in for that hard compound tire, and it's crucial for him to get a very, very strong stop here, because Leclerc's tires are going to be heated up, and he is going to have one heck of a pace here to potentially put the fight to Bottas and steal the lead. And here he comes out of the pit lane following George Russell behind him, actually, and here comes Leclerc. He'll get easily past George Russell into turn 1, but not quite past Bottas, who stays ahead. But like I said, don't forget the tire situation. So Leclerc, by the end of the lap here, in the DRS zone, he would get to the left side of Bottas, and actually he's going to pass him around the outside. Charles Leclerc retakes the lead of the Grand Prix after losing it on the start. Russell not far behind, by the way, 1.2 seconds back. I mean, don't rule him out, as the whole pit cycle had finally run its course, and I was here in P20 just behind Zhou Guanyu in the Alfa Romeo, so we didn't lose a terrible amount of time here. Now Lewis Hamilton, by the way, lap 15 into turn 1, runs into the back of Sebastian Vettel, who was exiting the pit lane, so he picked up damage on his wing. Hamilton actually being just behind myself here, passing me here down into the DRS braking zone here, actually, and actually yellow flags in front of us. It's going to be for an Aston Martin, actually, and it's Kevin Magnussen who's pulling to the side of the track. He's had a mechanical failure. He's out of the Grand Prix, so there's a position for myself here to lap 17. Now actually a big launch up the inside of Zhou Guanyu. I saw an opportunity. I took it. We make the pass there now as we would settle in, and we have so much more pace on this second run compared to what we had in the first run of this Grand Prix here. Now as we come through towards the end of lap 20, Lewis Hamilton again is coming into the pit lane, and he had no contact. It was because he was on the soft compound tire, so Hamilton pits again for a second time, and he is, I mean, having an absolutely horrendous race at this point here. Meanwhile, there's a battle for the lead going on as well. Bottas trying to put the fight to Leclerc. Leclerc holds him up. These two are backing themselves up closer and closer to that guy right there, George Russell. Don't count out that Mercedes driver. We know Ferrari knows how to throw things away just like that. Leclerc locks up into the braking zone, and through goes both Bottas and Russell into second place. Oh my goodness, Leclerc has done the Leclerc choke here in the F122 game, and the battles were starting to spice up. Here's Carlos Sainz going around the outside of Pierre Gasly, moving him up into 6th behind his teammate of Lando Norris. And one thing I haven't really mentioned yet, but by the way, lap 25, Lewis Hamilton's in again. What has happened? An absolute meltdown for the Mercedes team and driver. Probably the worst race of Lewis Hamilton's career. The battles weren't done. Russell had run down Valtteri Bottas and is going to pass Bottas in the same way Leclerc passed him. George Russell has stolen potentially the win from Ferrari. Bottas defends over Leclerc. They hold each other up. You can see both struggling. Ferrari has exploded internally, and George Russell potentially stealing the win away. While all of that was happening, literally nothing changed for me. I was still P17 behind Mick Schumacher. I didn't quite have enough pace to pass him, and we haven't quite highlighted it, but Théo Pourchaire was unbelievably far off the pace in this race. He was over 20 seconds behind myself. Hamilton's done like 3 additional pit stops and is still beating Pourchaire. Very similar to kind of what we saw in the last episode with Kevin Magnussen being significantly off the pace. Pourchaire was having that here today, but final lap would get underway here in Australia, down into turn 1 and 2. I knew I didn't quite have enough to pass Mick Schumacher, but I was very happy with P17 here, considering how that first run was on that soft compound tire. I felt like this was one heck of a rebound, but George Russell has single-handedly stolen the win from Ferrari here today in the Australian Grand Prix. He rounds the final corner for the second time in his Formula 1 career. He got win number 1 in the Singapore Grand Prix last season. He gets win number 2 in Australia over Valtteri Bottas, as well as Charles Leclerc there in 3rd. Sebastian Vettel going to be P4, still waiting on his first podium back with that Red Bull Racing team here now, as we are in a scrap with Schumacher. An opportunity there, but I lose too much grip right there, just a little bit too much power down, and we're going to have to settle for P17 it looks like here, unless unless something crazy happens now. Lance Stroll leads over Latifi, Schumacher, myself, and Zhou Guanyu. Hamilton 17.9 seconds back out of the final turn. It's going to be a P17, in my opinion, a solid rebound day here in Australia after a miserable first run on that soft compound tire, which set us back so much, and we rebounded very nicely here. The hard compound tire, we kept it in that optimal temperature range, and we certainly proved it here today. Alexander Albon, driver of the day. Let's head to the podiums.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I really feel the track layout, combined with the track temperatures we saw today, suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winner.
George Russell is again a Grand Prix winner here. Now, since we started this F1 22 My Team career mode, actually Mercedes have split it both ways. Hamilton with 2 wins, Russell now with 2 wins in. They've been so strong because you look at the last, 5 Grand Prix now in this career mode, counting last season as well. The last 2 of last season and the first 3 of this season, Mercedes have won 3 of them, with Hamilton in Brazil, in Abu Dhabi, now Russell in Australia. Mercedes is finding the pace, and obviously they didn't have anything in terms of World Drivers' Championship material or Constructors' Championship material last season in the My Team career mode, but this season could be a different story. I think they are going to be in the mix, and we know Red Bull's fast with the Porsche engines as well. We know Ferrari very well is definitely, once again, just like last season, currently the fastest team. Leclerc is so strong, but he only has a 3-point advantage currently over George Russell and Ferrari, 24 points and 30 points ahead of Red Bull and Mercedes. So it's getting close here now, as you can see, looking into making some more upgrades post Grand Prix. As always, we are trying to get this thing moving along and get it a little bit quicker because we definitely need more pace here, and hopefully some of the upgrades that we have coming up in the next episode don't fail, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And Imola, don't forget, it is a sprint race weekend as well, so the first one of the season. Then we go to one of the team's home races actually in Miami after that one, so it'll be exciting there to try and bring home Trackhouse Racing points again, which was the site of our first points in Formula 1. But as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. I mean, Lewis Hamilton's probably worst race of his career, and Leclerc and Bottas and Ferrari throw a win away to George Russell, who steals one in the closing 5 laps of the Australian Grand Prix. What a race it was. Still no safety car this season, I don't think, right? So I'm surprised by that here. Maybe we'll see one in Imola. Wouldn't be surprised if AI get a little bit crazy there. But that does it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one for Imola. Have a great day, everybody.